Gamer Leaf, the podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
The Vastborn, fiendish entities from the lower planes of the Vast who were brought here by the Shattered Hand during the Darkest War to ravage our lands. Living Eldrea creatures of living Eldrea, a mix of metal and crystal lattice given life by the latent energy of Eldrea itself. The Kami, physical embodiments of the spirits of Shinami, and they inhabit native lands of Washu. The Forsaken, ancient arcane constructs that still roam the land, performing their master's bidding from millennia ago.
Did any of those sound familiar to you guys? I know they didn't to me, but those are creatures of Vathis, and that's from Volume 1. It's a D&D 5e and Pathfinder. It's a bestiary, and luckily tonight we're lucky enough to have on the creators and masterminds behind that, Joe and Ashley. Is that correct? Is that how you guys fit in line, or?
Yeah. Kinda. Yeah, we're two of the minds behind it. 2 of 4, I would say, for the masterminds.
Well, there you go. Okay, cool. So let's rewind a little bit if we could. We don't have to go all the way back unless you guys were born into role playing. How did maybe we can take turns? How did each of you get into role playing games?
Well, for me, I was introduced to Dungeons and Dragons 3.5 back when I was 12 years old, I think. And from there, me and my friends back home just started playing, and I played different iterations of D&D, of other role-playing games, everything from Call of Cthulhu to Fate to Pathfinder, and nowadays it's mostly Pathfinder and 5e. And I've just been in love with role-playing in general since I started.
What about yourself, Ashley?
I got started, I'm a lot newer to it. I started about 4 years ago when I was actually introduced to the Star Called team before we were Star Called. I started in Pathfinder, and now I've played Pathfinder 4th edition, 5th edition, and we play other smaller systems as well.
Well, there you go. Have either of you been DM, or mainly you guys just play?
I dabble in both. I am one of the main people who GMs games for conventions for Star Called Studios, and I've run a few games here and there for the team and the different streams we do, but I also play in a lot of them too. I,
at this point, am just a player.
Okay, cool. So you say GM, what's the difference, a DM or GM? What's the difference?
It's kind of DM, Dungeon Master, GM, Game Master. I know Dungeons and Dragons, they kind of had the market cornered there for the term DM, because you deal with dungeons, but in a lot of other systems like Call of Cthulhu or a more modern system, for example, you won't be playing in a dungeon necessarily, so those games tend to use Game Master, and that's kind of become the catch-all generic term for that.
So this is from the creatures of Vathis, is that how you say it, or how do you say that?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, awesome. So I imagine it looks like is that a setting, or what is that exactly? It looks like it goes for D&D 5e as well as Pathfinder. Is that a setting?
Not quite. Creatures of Vathis is a supplement. It's a bestiary. So what you're going to find in the book is information on all sorts of creatures, monsters, beings that you can encounter in a game of either Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder. And we have the stats for each of those systems in each respective book to let you fight them and deal with them as you would in a D&D or Pathfinder game.
Well, there you go. I guess I should have said Vathis. What's Vathis? Is that a setting?
Vathis is the name of the continent featured in the Zodiac Empire's campaign setting. So that you were correct. It is a setting.
Okay, awesome. And so, did you both have a say in a creation in the actual setting or whatnot, or is it just for the bestiary?
For the setting specifically, at least for me, I was more of like a project management and editing help behind the scenes, and then I became more involved with the bestiary.
And I got pulled in near the tail end of the settings, kind of ironing out of the details. Brad, our pretty much the founder and the person who got us all together, I became friends with him, and he kind of pulled me in because he knew I was into D&D and stuff, and he gave me a few pieces of the setting that weren't quite ironed out, and I helped fill in the gaps there and helped make everything really fleshed out. And that was for our first Kickstarter, which launched in 2015, and that one went really well. So
Okay, and that was for the setting, actual setting or whatnot?
yep, that one was for the actual campaign setting. Zodiac Empires is the name of it.
Okay, and so I imagine that's been delivered by now?
Yes, we funded successfully and delivered pretty much right on time. And then we premiered it at Gen Con 2016. Yeah.
16.
Okay, and so now this is a bestiary, so everybody can find out about the different beasts and characters in that actual setting and whatnot?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of the creature types that I was speaking of a little earlier when we were introduced, they're unique types to the setting. A lot of the terms and stuff there you'll be familiar with if you're familiar with the setting, and it kind of expands on some of the lore for them.
Okay, so was the lore all written and you're just going in and finding the different creatures and writing about them and with I imagine art and stuff, or how does the bestiary work?
That's one of the really interesting things is when we were doing the setting, we had a lot of pieces of lore for creatures and stuff that we knew we wanted to introduce, and we actually had the space in the campaign setting, would have probably put a few of these creatures in, but there wasn't enough space for all the stuff we wanted to put in the book. So it was really nice to go back and revisit some of the ideas we had for the setting in terms of monsters and creatures, and be able to really flesh them out and give them life and tie them back to the ideas we had in the campaign setting.
Okay, well there you go. So on something like this, I imagine they would need to have that setting book, or this is something they can just get and then go back and get the actual setting, or how does this whole thing play out for somebody who might be wanting to back this project?
If you could get this book separately and you could use it in your setting, you could use it in a pre-existing setting, and you would just have to alter a couple things to really make it fit into what you're playing. But if you are playing in our setting, you could pick it up and then go back and pick up the setting, or if you already have it, you could play in it.
And can they get the setting on the Kickstarter, or that's just long and gone?
Yes.
No, the setting is on the Kickstarter.
It's an add-on item, and it's included in a couple of the levels.
Okay, well there you go. Cool. And you said you talked to people could pick this up and play in other settings as well?
Yeah. The nice thing about doing a bestiary like this is a lot of the information that you're getting out of it is pure stats. So pretty much the rules you would need to run these monsters for either Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder. So if you're running your own homebrew Pathfinder game and you pick up our bestiary and you look through it and you're like, oh, this one monster looks really cool, I'm just gonna grab it and pop it into my world just so my players can fight it. I mean, we can't stop you from doing that, nor would we want to. So you can feel free to take our monsters, even if you don't use the lore. Their stats are good for pretty much any setting.
Oh, okay. So I imagine you guys already had all this information in your minds, at least, or whatnot. But somebody who's been playing Vathis for a while, and I know the bestiary is just barely coming out, but how were they able to play with the monsters in there? Do they have to come up with their own things, or how did that go down?
A lot of the information on how the monsters behave, how they act, and whatnot, we're going to include right in the bestiary. Your average GM will be able to pull out that information and be able to use it in a D&D or Pathfinder game. But you are free to always just take the stats and make the monster's behavior however you want in your own personal game. It's one of the wonderful things about D&D and Pathfinder is taking ideas and just drawing inspiration from them and being able to make something of your own with it. And we like providing those tools.
Okay, but before the bestiary, I imagine those beasts were in the setting already. Did people have to come up with the stats before this?
That was a very long, interesting process. The stats were all done by our team here. We went through, made a list of creatures, and just kind of came up with the base idea for them. And then we went through one by one, consulted various creature building rules from the different systems, and used other creatures for references. And we managed to put together stat blocks in 2 different systems for over 120 different monsters. It was a labor of love, I'll tell you that much.
Oh wow! So this it sounds like there's a lot of replayability unless they're gonna decide they want to fight a couple of monsters over and over again. They get boring after a while.
Yep, there's a whole bunch of baddies and beasties you can fight in this one.
Well, there you go. Do each of you have a favorite baddie or beastie?
Oh wow, that's a really tough question. I think I handled a lot of the drakes, so they kind of have a special place for me. But I like some of our cuter creatures. We have a creature called an Orava. That's how I say it right. And it's extremely cute, and I think a lot of people will enjoy it.
But you probably don't want to kill it, do you? Is it a bad guy or it's a good guy?
It's more along the lines of a companion, but you could also just have it in your setting as like someone's pet, or, I mean, you could kill it.
Okay, cool. What about yourself, Joe?
It's a toss-up for me. I'm a big, like I said before, I played Call of Cthulhu for a long while, so I like really weird, out there, creepy, alien-like monsters, and there's a group of monsters called the Vastborn. They're these fiends from another dimension, pretty much, that they're all sorts of weird with tentacles and demon-like creatures. And they make me really like excited to fight, and they're very much a evil entity. But we also have a few fun monsters in there. One of the ones that I am particularly fond of, and it's my baby, it's the wine sprite. There's these small creatures that enjoy drinking wine, copious amounts of it, and actually if they hit you with their attacks, they have the ability to intoxicate you with their touch. So it makes for some fun encounters.
Oh, there you go. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And I think on the what is it, the Vastborn, it looks like there's a picture of one of them on the actual Kickstarter. It looks kind of like a Cthulhu tree-like thing, maybe.
Shattered.
That's one of them. That's a particularly one of my favorites, actually, the Shattered Vastborn. It's got all these gaping maws and teeth all over it and tentacles, and it'll pull you into its body and actually devour you while you're inside with all the different mouths it has. It's a nasty nightmare monster, pretty much.
Well, there you go. Cool. So why Kickstarter? Why did you guys choose Kickstarter to go this route?
Kickstarter is a really good platform for reaching a lot of people at once. And since we're such a small company, it's hard to set up publishing and to set up just getting pre-orders out there and getting your name out there and people interested. So it's just a really good place for a lot of people to come together, and the community, especially for RPGs and board games. It's amazing. So it's good to be able to reach out to those people.
And it looks like you're having those people try to reach out to other people. I see some social goals on the Kickstarter page. What can you tell us about those?
The social goals specifically, I think right now our first tier for both are digital creature tokens. So basically it'll be like a smaller picture of the creatures that you can use if you use like Roll20 or use any online gaming platform. And then we're also doing dice giveaways. We can also expand on it if we meet both of those goals.
Okay, and it looks like there's something for Twitter and something for Twitch.
Yes.
So what would they have to do? They just share it there, or what? How does somebody participate in the social goals?
If the goals are met with the digital tokens, anyone who backs, they will get that included in the reward level. And then the dice giveaway will just be a blanket. All Twitter or Twitch followers would be included in the dice giveaway.
Okay, just follow you guys on both of those?
Yep. Easiest way to participate, even if you can't back the project, but you want to help with the social goals, is just follow us on Twitter at StarCalledStudy. There's no O at the end. We didn't have enough characters for Twitter. And then Twitch, you can find us at StarCalled Studios, twitch.tv/StarCalled Studios.
Well, there you go. So per se, somebody's like that and they're not able to back, but they're able to do the social goals and whatnot. Will it be something that they can find later on in the stores or order later on from you guys?
Yep. If you follow us there, you're helping towards the social goals. You don't even have to give us $1 towards the actual project, and you'll still be helping people unlock some cool monster tokens and some potential dice giveaways.
Okay, and we definitely don't want to discourage anybody from backing the project because for the project to be successful and launch, it does need to reach that goal by, it looks like, the 3rd of March. Is that right?
Yes. We're actually working with BackerKit, which is they're a company and they work with Kickstarter. They integrate with like shipping. So after our Kickstarter ends, you will be able to pre-order through our Kickstarter and on our website. And then after the books are ready, you will be able to order them on our website. And we also use the Amazon and Drive-Thru RPG.
Okay, cool. And so let's see here. And per se, somebody's fallen asleep. It wouldn't be because of you guys or the bestiary. It'd probably be because of me and my podcast that they get tired of listening to me drone on. I released 17 episodes in January alone, and so they're a little bit burned out of me. But now that we've got their full attention, they're suddenly awake, so they don't hit the oncoming traffic. Why should they take a chance on Creatures of Vathis Volume 1?
I think that Creatures of Vathis Volume 1 is going to provide a unique batch of monsters, a unique batch of baddies that you can put in your games, whether it's Pathfinder or 5e. And we've tried to do a good job of making these monsters interesting, making them able to be put in encounters that you're not used to having, or unique encounters in general, just because of the monster's abilities. Overall, just trying to make your tabletop experience more interesting and make your combats a bit more dynamic, I guess is the word I'd use.
I know art's a big thing in books and different things like that. Who does the art for this?
Our interior artist, who is doing a piece of art for every creature in the book, is Chris Stoll. He's had several Kickstarters, and he has a lot of really neat work, so people should check him out. And then Mo Ballinger did our cover art. Right now, we currently have the front. He's working on the back. And we have Chris Pintos, who does our graphics, and then what's Monkey? Alfred Crabtree, who does our maps.
Yep, Meditating Monkey on Roll20 Marketplace.
Roll20, yeah.
Okay, so is this, you talked about the back cover still needs to be worked on. Is there other stuff? Is it not complete? And that's part of why the Kickstarter? Or?
Almost everything's complete except for a few outstanding pieces of art, and they're in progress.
Okay, so per se, somebody they've woken up now and they're gonna go and click on that link and they're gonna back this. When they do, should they anticipate getting their bestiary?
Our goal right now for PDFs is July 2018, and then I think our hardcovers are also July 2018. So it'll be the summer.
Okay, how does something like that work? A PDF, like it's just I'll have to go and scroll through all the pages, or I want to say I was talking to somebody, Jodi, who runs a different RPG system. For the life of me, I can't think of it right now. It's a pretty big one. For the life of me, I can't think of it, but I want to say there's options to search, and like if you're looking for a certain creature in a PDF, you can just type the name in. Is that something like that? It's possible?
Yeah, you can search the PDF, and we also link, like if you went to the table of contents, you would be able to find the creatures and click on a link and it would take you to that page.
Well, there you go. So should they, does it matter what they get? Should they go for the hardback or should they go for the PDF, or what's better?
In my mind, it depends on how you run your games. If you're running heavily digital and you don't like carrying around the books as much or don't have a good place to store them, PDF's perfectly fine. But personally, I think all the art, it just looks so much better when you get to see it on print. It just pops right out at you. The cover of our campaign setting speaks volumes to that. We loved the piece, but then when we saw it in print, it was something really special. So if you have the extra cash for it and you have the extra space for it and you do plan on backing, I highly recommend getting the physical copies. It's well worth the money. We make sure it's full color for you. Every page has artwork on it to some extent. And they're just real nice books to look at.
And so what's that going to put somebody back?
The hardcover books are, we have one for the D&D rule set and then one for the Pathfinder rule set. They'll be $30 each, but through the Kickstarter, you can get both of them for $55. And then our PDFs run $15 each.
Okay, and I guess it depends on which role-playing system they're using and whatnot?
Yes, that is correct.
Cool. There you go. Will you guys be on it? Are there any notable? I don't know how it works with role playing games or whatnot. I know with tabletop board games, a lot of times they're showcasing the games on different YouTube channels and different podcasts talk about them. Are you guys doing that with any? Is there any notable role playing reviewers out there that might be reviewing this, or any other podcasts you guys might be on?
The best place you can see us kind of go over some of the stuff that's going to be in Creatures of Vathis Volume 1 is actually on twitch.tv/StarCalled Studios, our own Twitch channel. We have been actually playtesting a lot of the monsters in both Pathfinder and 5th edition, just for our sake, to just do some balancing, tweak some of the stats, make sure they're up to snuff and they fit where they're supposed to fit within the systems. And also just to give people a chance to see some of the cool abilities that some of the monsters have and see them in action. So that'd be the best place in my mind to check out some of the stuff that's actually in the book if you want kind of a behind-the-scenes look.
Okay, and I've never really been to Twitch. Is that similar to YouTube?
Kinda. It's, if you've ever been on YouTube and seen anyone doing like a live broadcast, Twitch is pretty much just a service where people can stream. Usually it's a lot of people streaming video games that they're playing live. But more recently, a lot of people have started streaming Dungeons and Dragons and other role-playing games live. So we go live at various times throughout the week, usually in the evening because we all have day jobs. But you can catch us playing D&D. We do a bunch of different streams on there. The main one we do is on Saturdays. It's our ongoing Pathfinder game. But you can catch us fighting creatures right now for the Kickstarter on and off.
So is this something they have to tune in live for, or can they go back and watch reruns, I guess?
If you go to our channel on Twitch, the videos on demand for the past 90 days, I believe it is, it's either 60 or 90, they'll be there available to watch for anyone. So you can watch some of the more recent streams so you don't have to catch it live. But if you do catch it live, you can talk to us in Twitch chat, and we love talking to Twitch chat. So,
well, there you go. And is there a place that you guys kind of announce when you'll be doing the next live streams and so on and so forth? I guess if they follow your channel, probably.
We have a set schedule a couple days a week, but we also have a Discord server, and we always post in there. And we're good about posting on social media when we go live. So if you follow us on Twitter, you'll see a notification.
Okay, and we'll make sure we leave all the links in the show notes and whatnot so they don't have to type all that whatnot into their browser or whatnot, so they can just click it. So that's cool. We'll make sure you go ahead and back this so you can get a great bestiary that's compatible with your D&D 5e as well as Pathfinder. Now, I don't know if either of you have listened to the podcast before, but the next portion of it is called Adventures in Application Acquisition, where we talk about an app, be it for cell phone or for tablet or computer or even video games. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be related to role-playing games. A while back ago, we had somebody who had an app where you can just take a picture of anything, and I'll tell you whether or not it's a hot dog. Do each of you have an app that you like or you use a lot of that we can talk about for a moment?
Most of mine are pretty normal. I'm on social media a lot, so my go-to is Twitter.
Okay. Well, yeah, we can talk about that. So what can you tell us about the Twitter app?
It's where I do most of my tweeting. No, it's really good because Twitter's sometimes hard to keep up with. So if I only checked it like while I'm at my computer, I wouldn't be able to keep up with everything going on. But seeing it on my phone and getting notifications through text is helpful whenever I know people are trying to reach out to us or they just want to talk about something silly, which I'm fine with.
Okay, cool. And if you own the rights to the Twitter app, Ashley, what would be one thing you would do to fix it or make it better?
How would I make Twitter better? Twitter's pretty...
Increase the character limit again.
Yes, increase the character limit, add more slots for polls and also more characters for polls.
Didn't they just increase the character length or something, I want to say?
I think it was double.
They did. They doubled it. Didn't they? It was doubled.
Still not enough.
Yeah, it's been very helpful having more characters, but we could go for more. Also, I would like to be able to post a poll and a picture at the same time.
Okay, so yeah, we try to make a green podcast. So if anybody's listening, you heard it here. What Ashley would do to make Twitter better. So if you're listening, creators, go ahead and fix it, and it'll make it a little bit better for us. And what about yourself, Joe? Is there any apps you use that we can talk about for a moment?
The app I use the most is the Netflix app. I can't stop watching Netflix. Netflix is... I'm a big movie buff.
Well, there you go. What's on your current playlist?
Currently, I'm trying to finish The Punisher. It's that Netflix series, The Punisher. I'm a big Marvel fan. And they did just put Lord of the Rings on Netflix, and I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, so I can watch that again and again and again and never get tired of it.
Yeah, I saw that. Was it all the movies? I saw the One Ring. Did they put all of them on there?
It's only the first one. It's only the Fellowship, and it's not the extended cut. It's just the theatrical cut, so it's missing that extra hour of footage. So I'm a little iffy on it, but
well, there you go. Yeah. So before The Punisher or whatnot, do you have a favorite thing that's been on there?
Favorite thing on Netflix? Probably Stranger Things.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Gotta love Stranger Things.
Yes.
I clearly have a big love obsession with D&D, and they pay homage to that. So
cool. Did you binge that like in a matter of a day or a couple days?
Yeah, I'm guilty of that. Season 2 was done the day it came out.
Yeah, I know. I had to. What do you call? I actually because it'd been so long or whatnot, I actually went back in and binged season 1 before. I started with the episode 1 of season 2, but then I thought I needed to go back in, so I binge watched the season 1 again, and then did season 2 right after.
I know a ton of people who did that too.
And the other day, it was a while back ago, but I was in Target and I saw the coolest thing in regards to that. I had to do a double take or whatnot, but it was on the shelf. It said Stranger Things, and it was like in a VHS. They said VHS and everything on it. I had to do a double take. It actually ends up being, I want to say the Blu-rays of it, but I told my wife I got to get it. But yeah, it'd be awesome to be on VHS or whatnot, even though I don't have a VCR anymore.
Just for the collection value, yeah.
For sure. Cool bean. So who's your favorite character on there?
That's such a hard choice.
I believe in you.
I'm a big Mike fan. He's like the little leader of the little kids, and he's got a good heart.
Well, there you go. I think I'd have to go with Dusty. He's the guy that kind of has somewhat of a fro, not necessarily, but kind of longer hair. Yeah, mine too. It kind of reminds me of myself a little bit.
Aw. He's my favorite.
There you go. So if you own the rights to Netflix, what would be one thing you would do to make the application better?
If I own Netflix, I would try and make sure that they never lost any of the shows or movies they put on there. So often do I want to watch something that I knew was on there like last month, but it's not there anymore, and it just kills me.
There you go. They make you watch it right when it comes out, right when it's there.
Yeah.
So you got to stay up with it. So there you go. Don't ever lose a show again. You heard it here first on Getting Geeky with Game Relief, what Joe would do to make Netflix better. There you go. So, yeah, I don't want to keep you guys all night, but we really appreciate you coming on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. Minus coming there to you guys' hometown to stalk here, find out what you guys have going on with Zodiac Empires or any of your D&D or Pathfinder stuff, how would people go about finding out about you guys or your small role-playing game company?
Best way to find us is probably through our website, starcalledstudios.com. You can also search for Star Called Studios on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, pretty much any social media you'll find us. And currently, obviously, you can find us if you search for Creatures of Vathis Volume 1 on Kickstarter.
And we'll make sure we go ahead and leave the links in there and whatnot. So if anybody's listening to this and stuff, I know you're focused on this one right now. We want to make sure this gets funded. But do you guys have anything in the works for the future? Maybe a little bit of dirt you can give us, so if anybody's listening?
We're always working on things. So yes, there are definitely things in the works. I know, Joe, if you want to talk about your next focus of adventures.
Well, Gen Con is fast approaching. We are big fans of Gen Con, and every year I've run at least one new adventure at Gen Con. This year there should be a couple new ones, so if you're going to Gen Con, definitely check those out because those are going to be the next things I personally am going to work on and try and get out for people. Some adventures set in the Zodiac Empire setting.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. Cool. Well, yeah, like I said, I don't want to keep you all night, but I really appreciate you coming on, getting geeky with Game Relief with us.
It's been great.
Thank you. Okay, time for Kickstarter Corner. I hope you enjoyed that interview, those interviews with those two people. Well, I guess it'd be one interview, wouldn't it? Anyways, it's time for Kickstarter Corner. First, but not least, or one of the greatest ones, well, they're all pretty good. Hermetica, a two-player abstract strategy board game where clever combos and dynamic terrain create a battle of choice, tactics, and wits. Yeah, check out this great game. At the time of the recording, they had about 5 days to go. So by the time you hear this, they've got a couple days left to end on Thursday. early morning. So yeah, make sure you check it out. They're a little bit over their goal. They ended up reaching it. Yeah, so make sure you check it out so you can have a fun game if you don't know about it or how to play it, or you want to try it out first. Go ahead and get on their Kickstarter page and click on it. How to click on the play button and you can play it online. That's what me and Barbarian Leaf did in our review of it. You can check that out. We did an episode where we reviewed it, actually 2 review episodes, as well as we also interviewed the creators of it. So check those episodes out if you want. And then we've got Warriors. Then we've got Warriors of Jogu Feint. Outwit your opponent in this tactical card game of bluffing and deduction. They've recently gone over their goal by $200, and they still have 13 days to go. They end on the 16th of February. Check it out. It's by Tony Chen of Monsoon Publishing. Then next, if you're in the western United States or Phoenix area and you want to get 2 cons for the price of one, now's your chance. MaricopaCon 2018 and MacroCon 2018. What is this madness? We are back for our 6th-year funding project and partnering with MacroCon to give you a 2-for-1 deal so you can get into both of these cons for $35. That's correct. Check it out on the Kickstarter. This is by Jason Youngdale. And then we've got Ascendant Destiny, which is a flexible tabletop fantasy RPG game, and soon to be published high fantasy tabletop RPG with 14 years of playtesting and improving. And we recently, or we're about to have Christopher on the show. Let's see, yeah, we're going to have Chris on the show, so you can check out that great interview if we didn't already. And yeah, you can check that out. It'll be up soon. And then we also got, and that one, just so you know, it's got about 20 days to go. It goes through the 23rd of February. And then we've got, last but not least, Bitcoin Empire to the moon. I accidentally just lied to y'all. I apologize. That is not last, nor is it least. We actually have a couple others we want to tell you about. So, Bitcoin Empire to the moon. It was actually canceled, but not to fret. No, not to fret. They have since rebooted the campaign, and it has funded. That's correct. They have rebooted and funded. So yeah, they have 13 days to go. It goes through the 17th of February. So a card game about Bitcoin and a conspiracy that the moon landings are fake. Check it out on the Kickstarters, and now you'll for sure get the game, as like I said, they have funded. Also, another fun one coming at you from Getting Geeky with Game Relief. Well, yes, because maybe you haven't heard about it elsewhere, is Battle Digum, or Battle Digum. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it's BATTLEDIGM. It is from Vintage Future Games. It's a fast-paced, 2-player deck-building game. If you know us here at Getting Geeky with Game Relief, you know we like deck-building games. So you definitely want to check this one out. They have 27 days to go. It just recently launched, and it goes through the 3rd of March. So yeah, check that one out on the Kickstarters for sure, peoples. And yeah, you'll want to make sure you get on board with that one. Okay, and there's also, don't forget about this one. This is a great game. It recently launched on Kickstarter, and we're actually going to have the great chance to review it or preview it for you, because the people at Tantrum House, Kevin Delph, actually sent us an extra copy that he had. It is called Arkon. I think that's how you say it. Arkon is a fast-paced, non-linear strategy card game that employs a unique bidding-based resource system and multi-use cards. They are over 200% funded, and they still have 28 days to go at the time of this recording. They end the 3rd of March. So yeah, check that out on the Kickstarters. It's some really cool art on the cards, and yeah, we're going to bring a review to you. And it looks like this was backed by one of our favorite podcasts. If I'm looking at it right, let me double check. At least I'm seeing, let's see, I don't know. By We're Not Wizards. Our friend Richard Simpson over at We're Not Wizards actually backed this project. So if he can vouch for it, we know we can. So go ahead and check it out on the Kickstarters. And yeah, there's that for you as well. Okay, well, now this next part of the show, I'm going to bring to you with a little bit of a heavy heart, as it's a little bit of a news, if you will, or housekeeping. Yeah, a little bit of housekeeping with Getting Geeky with Game Relief. If you've been with us for any of the ride or much of the ride, you know we launched last year back in May, and then probably about August or so, we started bringing you 3 episodes a week. So last year from May through the end of the year, we had 100 episodes. And so far this year, at the end of January, we had 17 episodes going on. So we're going to have to scale back a little bit, trying to make sure we can, there's too many eggs in our basket we're juggling. I'm still going to bring you a lot of episodes, I know that for a fact, but got to scale back a little bit. So unfortunately, for a time being, hopefully not forever, but got to take a break and step back from the role playing as a family. Just some things come up or whatnot. We'd still like to bring you at least, we'll bring you designer interviews as well as reviews that the family gets to the table. We might have to scale back on those as well. So when we're able to get a game to the table, we will go ahead and bring you the review. Make sure, at least you'll get 1 episode a week, if not more, depending on how many interviews we have. So kind of veering that way. I hate to tell you that, but we'll also do reviews because we've got a bunch of reviews we got to catch up on. So don't fret if you have a game to us and you want us to review it. We're still going to do it. And but we're got to kind of scale back a little bit. We've got some exciting things, but got to better take care of my family, and we want to make board gaming funner and more life-sustaining. Well, you know what's next, or maybe you don't. Maybe you're new to listening. If you are, welcome to the show. Yeah, if you like what you heard, I hope you did. If you like what you heard, go ahead and leave us a review on iTunes. Drop a subscription, give us a review, and tell your friends about it. If you don't have an iTunes account, but your friends do, and you liked what you heard, don't worry. Go ahead and borrow their phones or borrow their devices. Jump on their iTunes account really quick. Give us a review. This does 2 things for you. It lets us know that you like the show, and then it also saves up all that time and energy that your friends would have to make a review, because I imagine you're going to tell them how much you like the show, and then they won't have to make a review when it's time for them, because they'll already have done it, or so it will seem. Well, anyways, this has been Getting Geeky with Game Relief. My name's Game Relief, and we hope you like what you heard. Remember to get geeky, stay geeky, and bring others into the geek fold. You know what we'll do next. We will catch you all on the flip side. Game Relief out.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.